What's going on, everyone? What's going on? This is your host, Vibrant from the Vibrant Truth. A little bit under the weather. Well, not really under the weather, but feeling some effects of the vaccine, I would say. Yep, feeling effects of the vaccine. Feeling some effects of. So, you see the title. Should we voice our opinions? This is not going to be a very long video. Um, just going to get straight to the point. No extras, no fillers, just straight to the point. So, should we voice our opinions all the time when we're in situations that we're in the midst of, or we're in situations that we're not in the midst of, but people are just voicing or venting a situation to us? I feel a lot of people think that just because someone is speaking to you about a situation, that gives you a right to voice your opinion. It doesn't necessarily give you a right to voice your opinion. What it does is it's an outlet for people. It's an outlet for people to vent. Everyone needs to vent. Like I've said before, I've always said people need to vent. Now, at the same time, I feel like a lot of people, give me 1 second, guys. Okay. I feel like a lot of people don't, how do you say? I feel like a lot of people don't know the difference between someone venting and someone looking for advice. Now, like I said before, I'm a person that's not a talker. I don't really talk too much. So it's like it's like people get upset with me because I don't talk, right? So like if people vent to me and they're looking for my advice, sometimes it's off kilter because I'm not don't talk, right? So like if people vent to me and they're looking for my advice, sometimes it's like well, I'm talking to you and you're just staring at me, or I'm talking to you and you're not answering. And it's like sometimes people's advice is not needed. Sometimes all we need is an ear. Excuse me. But I feel like a lot of people voice their opinions on situations that they have no business voicing their opinions about. And some people get offended by it. Some people say, whatever, it's their opinion, it's their thought. But let's give a couple of examples. How can you voice your opinion on being a mother if you're a man? How can you voice your opinions on being a father if you're a woman? Okay. Now I know there's a lot of females that play both roles, mother and father, and there's a few males that play both roles, mother and father. But where do people get off saying, "Hey, you're a female. You can't teach your son this because that's a male's job. Where does people get off saying you can't teach your daughter this because that's a female's job? I think both of those statements are politically incorrect, rude, and untrue. For the simple fact of the matter is simply this: I was raised by only my mom. I learned how to be a man. Am I a little more oversensitive than I should be sometimes? Probably. But I give that credit also to me being a Pisces, not just because I was raised by a woman. Now, the thing about everything is simply this, okay? A lot of friendships implode from the inside because advice is given where advice isn't needed, or opinions are shared when opinions shouldn't be shared. I have the opposite problem. People come to me for advice on opinions, and I'm just sitting there listening to them. That's always my go to, is to sit and listen first. Now, if you're looking for my advice, I'm the type of person that I would expect you to say, hey, I need to talk to you. I need your advice. I need your opinion. That's the type of person I am. I don't automatically assume people need my advice, want my opinion, but I always know that everyone needs someone to listen to them when they're going through something. And that's the type of person I am. I'll listen 100% of the time, no problem, no issues, no nothing. But I need that verbal communication that when you want my advice, tell me you want my advice. I'll give you my advice, no problem. But also, I'm not the type of person to just offer up my advice unless people, unless it's a subject that I know I can offer some good advice or good opinion on. And I'm not necessarily the best person to give advice on much of anything anymore. Before, yeah, I was good at giving advice, but I am in by no means taking credit for being the wisest person, the smartest person, or the most sensible person. I do, however, feel like people want to be known as wise. People want to be known as, how can I put it? People want to be known as the guru of everything. I don't want to be known as anything but me. Now, I have gotten over my years on earth from time to time. I'm a good listener or whatever. Like, I'll listen to you talk. Doesn't necessarily mean I understand what you're going through. Doesn't necessarily mean I can guide you in the right direction on your situation. But my ears are always open. And it's like, because I listen and I don't speak, it makes most people upset. Most people say, I don't know why I bother talking to you. You don't even respond. It's not because I'm doing it maliciously. It's not because I'm doing it on purpose. It's because my assumption is everyone needs someone to vent to. So if you need someone to vent to, I'm going to be that person for you to vent to. That's going to be me. So if you come to me with an issue or a problem, or you come to me and say, hey, I'm going through this, that, and the third, and I don't know what to do. I'm just stressing out. I can't concentrate. I can't function. I can't eat. I can't sleep. There's nowhere in those sentences that you said, hey, what do you think I should do? I need your input. I need your advice. I need some guidance. I'm not a very wise person. I'm not a very smart person. The only thing I can give you is what I've been through and how it worked out for me and what I did to navigate the situations. What I do see now a lot of days, excuse me, I apologize for not the high energy that I usually have. But what I am seeing nowadays is a lot of people is giving opinions on things that they shouldn't be giving opinions on, or they're not qualified to give opinions on. And which is fine, to each his own. Some people will accept that fact. Other people would say you have no business giving advice on something you know nothing about. Now, just me personally, I would never give advice on being a mother, or being a girlfriend, or being a wife, or being anything that is gender specific other than my gender. That's just me. I don't know how to be a woman. I don't know how women think, how women feel, the process that women go through. I don't know all that. So I would never give advice or suggestions on those matters. But I feel like people give advice and share their opinions, and their opinions are not their opinions. Their opinions are backhanded judgments. And I'll explain that. Backhanded judgments is when you give an opinion on a subject that you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, people give advice on how to be a parent that has no kids. How can you give parental advice when you don't have anyone that you parent? How can you give an opinion on parenting when you're not parenting anyone yourself? It just doesn't make sense to me. You tell someone how to parent their child, and you have not one child that you parent. So, how do you know what should and shouldn't be done? How do you know what type of treatment that child should get? How do you know that the relationship between the parent and the child goes too far or is inappropriate or anything like that? How do you know? You don't. It's just an opinion. And I feel like people give opinions on situations like that, and it's a very touchy subject nowadays because people. Give me a second, guys. People often look at the situations like, okay, I'm just giving an opinion. No, you're not giving an opinion. That's a judgment. Because you don't have kids, but you're telling someone that's raising a child what they're doing wrong. How does that make sense? That's like me telling someone that's been streaming for 10 years, hey, you should do this on your stream. You should do that on your stream. Where do I get off giving anyone advice about streaming when I just started streaming not too long ago? I'm still learning. That's a backhanded judgment. Now, if someone that's been streaming longer than I comes to me and say, "Hey, do you have any suggestions on how I can improve my stream, or is there anything you want to see in my stream?" Then yes, that's when you give your opinion. That's when you say, "Well, hey, maybe you should try this." But to just go up to someone that has way more experience, way more successful, been doing this way longer than you, and say, "Hey, you should do this. You should stop doing that. You should make this look like this." What sense does that make? And I get a lot of people would say, "Well, when people come and talk to you, they're automatically looking for advice or an opinion." That's not always true. When people come and talk to people, it's because they trust them and they need someone to talk to, and they just need to get stuff off their chest. That's the number one reason why people get talked to. Now, number two reason is because they're looking for feedback or they're looking for an opinion. But that's not up to you to assume. Now, if they don't say, "Hey, I need your advice, I need your opinion," as they're talking, once they're done talking, your very next response should be, "Well, do you want my thoughts? Do you want my opinion? Do you want my feedback?" Then it's up to them to say, "Yes. What are your thoughts?" Or if they say no, then you was the person that they needed to vent to, and that's perfectly fine as well. I feel like people get comfortable in the fact that you want to give opinions when you just want to talk. This is not censorship. What this is knowing when to be there to listen and knowing when to be there to give an opinion or a suggestion. I'm not saying you can't give your opinions. What I'm saying is sometimes when people come to talk and vent, that's just all they're doing is coming to talk and vent. They're not coming for advice. They're not coming for opinions. And from personal experience and listening to other people's things, to other people's conversations, listening to other people's conversations, I've seen friendships blow up because one friend went and spoke to another friend, and another friend gave his advice or his opinion, and that was the end of the friendship. What if I see someone driving off a cliff? Should I keep it to myself? See, you're taking the situation way far left. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is general situations. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything like suicide or someone trying to hurt themselves or harm themselves. I'm talking about general, regular, run of the mill situations. Of course, if you see someone trying to hurt themselves or trying to harm themselves, you should definitely intervene. I'm talking about the different stresses of life and when people need someone to talk to, just to talk. They don't want no one's input or no one's advice. They just need to vent. That's what I'm referring to. Not any life altering situations that can end someone's life or disfigure somebody. What I feel like is I'm glad you brought that up because what I feel like is when people say things, they take things way far left, just like this person did, and say, "Well, what about this? What about that?" It's not about the extremes. I'm talking about the regular, run of the mill type problems. If someone comes to you venting about their job, just venting, is it really up to you to say, well, you should quit that job? Go find another job. You don't need that place. You don't know what that person's really going through and why they stay there. But they hate the job, but they stay there. Maybe because they can't find a higher paying job. Maybe because it's close to their house. Maybe because the hours work for their lifestyle. All I'm saying is simply this: sometimes opinions are not needed. Sometimes all that's needed is our ears. That's all that's needed sometimes is our ears. And yeah, maybe sometimes people come and speak to you with the assumption that you're gonna give advice or you're gonna give your opinion. But at the same time, that person could be under the assumption that you just want to talk. So that's where communication comes into play at. If I go to someone with an issue, my very first sentence when I speak to them is, this is what I'm going through. What are your thoughts on this? And that opens the floor to a discussion once I'm done talking about what I'm talking about. But at the same time, if I don't say, hey, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on that? Then I'm just coming to vent. And I'm not saying it's wrong for people to give advice or their opinions when it's not asked. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I really feel like doing that can really mess up a friendship sometimes because people take things the wrong way, especially when they're not looking for you to get feedback. Like you can say something very lightheartedly and very supportive, but they're in their feelings at the moment and they're going to take whatever you say to them as judgmental. They're going to take whatever you say to them the wrong way. And then you're spending 10, 15 minutes explaining your statements. So to me, I rather have someone physically and verbally say, hey, I need your thoughts. I need your advice. I'd rather a person be upset with me because I don't offer my opinion or my advice rather than them being upset at what I said and it's taking the wrong way. I'm open to listen and discuss things with anybody, anytime, anywhere, any place. But I just want to make sure that that's what you're doing and you're not just coming to me to talk to me to say, hey, I need to get this off my chest. And that's fine too. But if you want advice or you want my opinion, if you don't tell me you want my advice or my opinion, then I'm going to ask you when you're done, hey, do you want my advice? Do you want my opinion? Can I share my thoughts? This is and was never about censorship. This was never about life altering decisions. This is about people using judgment, using their common sense, if you will. Now, I'm gonna give an example. I have many people that I'm around almost daily that give opinions on things that they're not qualified to give opinions on, which ultimately turns into an argument, which ultimately turns into an altercation, which ultimately turns into someone having to be removed from the premises for a little while to cool off. That all could be avoided just by communicating. Hey, do you want my thoughts? Do you want my opinions? Can I share my feedback? Yes, this is a free country. Freedom of speech, 100%. I agree with it. But at the same time, other people might take what you say wrong, and it's a issue for no reason. And I know this for a fact because people have taken things that I've said wrong a lot of times when my opinions wasn't asked. So I'm talking from experience. I feel like nowadays People, and it's not even strangers. I'm not even talking about strangers. I'm talking about friends. People give advice or opinions on things that they know nothing about. Like I said, like I mentioned streaming earlier, that'll be the same thing about me, a mechanic or a teacher or anything like that. I have no business saying, hey, you should fix a car like this because it'll make more sense. I have no business saying, hey, maybe you should teach like this because it makes more sense. What I'm saying is everyone can give advice and can give their opinions, but only if it's relatable to them, only if they have the knowledge of it. You can surely give hypotheticals 100%, but sometimes people don't need hypotheticals. They need factuals, life experiences, past experiences. So, what I'm saying is simply this: I don't really know how anyone that's watching feels about this, other than the person that commented. But what I feel is simply we can communicate more efficiently and more effectively if we don't assume and we just ask questions. I feel like a lot of people is afraid to ask questions nowadays. And yeah, it may come off as a stupid question to other people, but it's a valid question to you. So why not? If we ask questions, communication is way more effective. Communication is way more efficient. Now, this may ruffle some feathers, but hey, that's what I do best. So, I seen a video recently about mothers and relationships with their sons. And this video was by a guy. My problem with the video was number one, he has no children. Number two, he's a guy. Number three, why did it seem like it made any sense for him to say you cannot make your son your boyfriend because parents, mothers say that I don't have time for no man. All I care about is my son. So, how does that correlate into anything more affectionate than a mother and a son? I don't see the connection. But hey, to each his own, right? That's more of the reference that I'm talking about. That's the premise I'm going with. Like giving advice on situations that you have no life experience on, you don't know the inner workings of it, you're not experiencing it. And I mean, yeah, mothers are affectionate to their kids. They want to kiss on them and hug them and stuff. But how does that correlate into a deeper affectionate relationship? That's that's where I'm confused at. That's where I'm not sure where that person in that video was going. But everyone has their own opinion. Like I said in the beginning of my video, everyone has their own opinion. I don't agree with that opinion, but that's just me. I was raised by only my mother. I didn't have that issue with thinking she wanted more than a mother-son relationship. She was affectionate to me all the time. I was affectionate to her on a mother-son level. So, I mean, I'm not really sure as to why people would think because a mother, especially a single mother, would have those thoughts or those feelings towards their child. I mean, it definitely does happen, but for you to just jump and say that because a mother says All I care about is my son. I don't have time for no guys. The only guy that's important in my life is my son. To me, that's a good mother because they put in their child before any relationship, before any man, before any extracurriculars, I would say. But time and time again, I'm starting to see these younger guys say, well, you're never going to have a life because all you do is cater to your kid, cater to your daughter, cater to your son. What are they supposed to do, especially if they're single parents? They're supposed to put their kids to the side because you want to spend time with them. A good mother puts their child first. It's That's just the way it's supposed to be. But anyway, I'm all for people giving their opinions. I'm all for people giving their advice. But everyone's not me. I don't have to go to someone and say, hey, I need your thoughts. I need your advice. If I'm venting to you, I'm going to automatically expect that you're going to share your thoughts, your opinions. That's just me. Everyone's not like that. And that's what I'm referring to. Some people don't like for you to just throw your thoughts out there. Some people just like for you to listen and wait for them to say, hey, what is your thoughts on it? Am I tripping? Am I bugging? Or do you agree with me? I mean, I don't talk about the situations in my videos that I talk about without having life experiences or witness it in real life. The shit I'm talking about right now, I've seen in real life. I just seen it happen 3 days ago at work. So, I mean, most people just want to talk or get shit off their chest. They don't want no one's input or no one's feedback. That's how people are. I, for one, if I say something to somebody, I'm expecting the feedback. I'm expecting the, well, my thoughts is this. I feel like this. I'm expecting it. Am I always going to like what I hear? No. But that's the point of talking to people, is making sure that there's a dialogue between the two. Some people just want to come up and say, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that. And that's it. They're gone. Other people want to say what they're going through and sit and wait for you to say, well, listen, you should try this, you should try that. Did you talk to this person? Did you talk to that person? I would do this, I would do that. That's me. I'm that type of person. If I'm talking to you, I'm going to want your feedback. I'm going to want dialogue. No, I'm not going to always like what you say, but your thoughts and your opinions is your thoughts and your opinions. I can't make you think something different. I can't make you feel something different. But a lot of people don't know how to take constructive criticism or take advice and just take it for what it is. If you give advice or if you give your thoughts, some people get offensive. What are you trying to say? So you're trying to say I'm this, you're trying to say I'm that? No. I'm just giving you my thoughts in general. I'm not attacking you. I'm not saying you're this, I'm not saying you're that. I'm just giving you my thoughts in general. I'm not the type of person to get offensive about every little thing when I talk to someone about a situation. Even if I don't talk to someone about a situation and they're in the midst of a situation that I'm a part of and they interject themselves into the situation and say, hey, well, maybe this should be done, maybe that should be done. I don't get offended by that. If I think it makes sense, I'd be like, you know what? Never thought of that. Maybe I should. If I don't feel it makes sense, I say, hey, well, that's not going to work. That's going to be a waste of time. But thanks for your input. It's just I feel like people get overly sensitive about the small things nowadays, and it causes a much bigger issue than it needs to be. There's so much important shit happening in the world today to let little shit come in between a friendship or relationship or any type of thing that's going on. So, what I feel like is if we communicate more efficiently and ask questions, I believe things will start to get better slowly. If we stop being afraid to ask questions, if we stop being afraid to have dialogue and have conversations, things will get better slowly. I'm not saying things are going to change overnight. I'm not saying one person could change the world. I'm not saying 10 people could change the world. But what I'm saying is if we all start to work together a little bit better, communicate a little bit better, ask questions, who knows what could happen? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not going to be a very long video. This is not going to be a drawn out video. What I am going to do now is I am going to let people comment, ask questions, join the stream if they want. I'll give that about a couple of minutes, and if no one comes in, I will end the stream. But I would really love some feedback and some dialogue on this situation. I mean, I know some of the things I said, some people won't agree with, and that's perfectly fine. That's what I'm looking for. The difference of opinion so we can talk about it and have dialogues. That's what these videos are about. Differences of opinions and conversations. So that's what I'm looking for. So hopefully someone hops in, and we could talk about it. If not, then I will end the stream and try to come up with another topic for what's tomorrow? Monday? For tomorrow. All right, no one's coming in. So that's going to end the stream. Thank you guys for watching. VVS Blackout, Maestro. Thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to the Tattoo Parlor, Captain Cannoli, Traylon, VVS Blackout, Redbeard Mortis, Maestro, and the rest of the crew. This has been Vibrant, the host of The Vibrant Truth, and I will catch you guys later.